guys, it's Courtney with Jump Seat Diaries. Welcome back to another video. So again, I can always tell where you guys are in the process of hiring or training because that's the type of questions that I get. So it sounds like you guys have started training or about to start training and you're a little bit concerned about those tests. First, I'm gonna tell you, deep breath, you got this. I've been there before. In full transparency, I failed not one, but 2 tests when I was in training. Well, a test and a proficiency. So I totally understand the stress and the anxiety of not knowing what you're stepping into. So in this video today, I am going to share with you the tips and tricks that I wish I had learned in the beginning to help you guys prepare and pass every single test in flight attendant training. So pull up a chair, grab a pen and a piece of paper and get ready to take some notes because your girl's getting ready to spill the tea. So one of the questions that I was curious about when I started training is I kind of wanted to know what the format of the training was. Was it paper tests? Was it on a computer? Was it I had to stand up in front of a class? Was it demonstrations? Like what kind of testing was it? So I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of information on how that works. So you will have tests and then you will have proficiencies. Now, during our training, we had 2 tests. I've heard from past classes before they had 3, they heard 1. I think they like to switch it up to keep it spicy and to keep us stressed the hell out. So I'm not gonna guarantee you guys how many tests you have, but I will tell you that expect at least 2 tests. These are tests that are going to be performed on your IEFB. So Southwest Airlines and a lot of other airlines have stepped into the 21st century. And so all of your flight attendant manuals, your tests, literally everything that you are going to need in training is going to be on this IEFB. Some people call it IEFB. I call it my personal Bible. It's up to you. But either way, this is gonna be your bestie for the 4 weeks that you're in training and after that. All of your tests will be completed on your IEFB as well. So if you are the type of person that doesn't do well with test taking on a paper format, don't worry because it's all computer based. You are allowed to review questions and go back and re-answer them if you want. You can change your answers a million times, although I don't recommend doing that. Always go with your first gut. So you do that, that's basically how that works. So that is the test part of it. Then you have something that are called proficiency. Proficiencies are basically performance exams. These are where they demonstrate a task to you and then you turn around and you repeat them. So this may be emergency demo stuff, this may be CPR, this may be whatever they throw at you. And you usually will have 1 or 2 times to show them that you're proficient at whatever it is they're teaching you. So prepare for that, both test like that's on a computer as well as test, meaning you demonstrate and you show them. So they really try and build it in a way that it accommodates all learning styles, okay? So if you ever have any questions after you have done a proficiency, do not be afraid to ask them to show you again. Now let's talk about ChatGPT and how I use that to help myself study. So I personally am a note taker. I like taking notes because I learned in nursing school that when you write something, you have a better chance of remembering it because you actually went through the process of writing it. So a lot of people were just the type that was highlighting in flight attendant training. Your girl had like a whole notebook that I was like literally writing. Like if our instructor said it, I probably wrote it down. So what I would do is after I would take pictures of my notes and then if you upload them into ChatGPT can read a screenshot and it would analyze my notes and then it would turn it into a study guide for me. And then I would have it pull out important details from that study guide to help me study. And I would also have it create multiple choice questions for me so that I could really learn the material and I could really study the material. Because the thing with the Quizlets is they're all going to be asking kind of the same question because chances are they all were sitting in the class and all took the same notes. But the cool thing with ChatGPT is it'll take the concept and it'll reformat it into different questions to make sure that you really know the material. So I would definitely use ChatGPT as a resource. You can do that on both the free plan and the paid plan. So if you're not paying for a ChatGPT membership, then you don't have to worry about it. You can still use it. So the next thing I want to talk about, if you have been out of academia for a while, so you haven't been in school for a while, then you probably have not heard of Quizlet. Quizlet is a database where people put together study material from their notes, lectures, and things like that, and they put them into flashcards or just handwritten notes, and then you can go through it and you can review other people's sets. Now, our class, previous classes, they all have put together their own Quizlet sets. So all you have to do, I'm not gonna give you the link because again, your girl is still on probation, but if you go to Quizlet and you Google flight attendant training Southwest, I guarantee you, you will find Quizlets that our class, other classes have created that will give you study tips as well, like specific information of things that they study to prepare for tests. Inside of Quizlet, you can create or study flashcards. They will also make multiple choice tests for you. They have like games that you can play that will help you memorize the study material. So I highly recommend, if you do not have a Quizlet account, go ahead and create one now, and you can pop on over to Quizlet now. And like I said, put in that search term in the search bar and you can pull up all of the information. Now, here's the thing when it comes to Quizlet. Like the PAs, things change. So with that said, look at this stuff with a grain of salt. However, the one thing I will tell you is because of the information that you're studying, it's FAA mandated, it's more than likely not gonna change. So if you're talking about like safety equipment, safety regulations, things that you're supposed to do like that, I can guarantee you that's more than likely going to be accurate because the FAA, it takes an act of Congress, literally, for the FAA to change anything. So I would feel pretty confident in the things that you found on Quizlet. The one thing I will say with Quizlet is the Quizlet notes that are there are only as good or as smart as the person who took them. So what I would do is I would compare, and there's usually going to be lots of different notes. So like there may be one that says exam 1, and there may be like 15 different Quizlets that say Southwest Airlines exam 1. So what I would do is I would pull up maybe 2 or 3 of them and I would compare like the information, and anything that doesn't really align with like the rest of the group, I would throw that out and I wouldn't study that Quizlet set. So that is a little tip so that you can make sure that you're getting the right information. The other thing you can do is you can use your handy IFB. And as you're going through the questions, you can pull up the information in the IFB to make sure that it's accurate. And if the information is matching your IFB, then chances are the person who made that Quizlet wasn't eating paste and they were actually paying attention in class, and they're good to study their study notes. So yeah, that's the tip on Quizlet. The next tip I want to give you guys is on group study sessions. So this can either be very hit or miss, and I highly suggest that you pick your group very carefully, because what I have found is there are 3 groups of people when it comes to flight attendant training. There is the group that wants to meet over drinks and study, and y'all end up drunk and no studying gets done at all. Or there is the group of people who get together and they all freak out and panic and no studying gets done. Or there's a group of people who actually have their shit together and you guys actually have a useful study session. That's the group of people that I suggest you find. Sometimes it's gonna be hit and miss. Sometimes you may get lucky and you may find that group right outside of training, which is why I say it's very important that you guys are communicating with each other before you get to training so that you guys can kind of get to know personalities. And if this person seems like they're really high strung, anxiety ridden, then you probably are not gonna wanna form a study group with them. Just my thought process, but hey, you do you, boo. So I would definitely make sure that you utilize study groups, but make sure that you guys have a plan when you go into it. So say we are going to study for an hour emergency commands, and you guys all study emergency commands for an hour. There's no side conversations, people aren't on their cell phones, drinks and alcohol are not involved. Like, it is a true study session. So make sure that you are utilizing your study groups well. Also, your study groups don't need to run like hours and hours and hours long, you guys. Like, honestly, an hour or 2 hours is enough. You really just want to utilize the study session so that you can basically like teach somebody else the information so that you can prove to yourself that you know it, which is going to lead into my next tip. So there's no need to have all night long study sessions, okay? So that is my tip when it comes to picking the right study session and group for flight attendant training. Okay, so the next tip that I want to give you kind of feeds into the last tip that I gave you is teach it out loud. So you want to teach the information that you are learning, because here's the thing, if you can teach it to somebody else, then it usually means that you really truly know it. So teach those emergency commands to someone else, whether it be your friend over the phone, whether it be your dog, whether it be a stuffed animal, whether it be like whatever, just say it out loud, because you'll also build confidence that way and you'll start to build repetition. So same thing with your PAs, although if you guys are already studying for a test and you have training dates, you should already have your PAs down, but I cannot stress that enough. But if you're one of the stragglers and you are still, don't have them PAs down, I'm gonna say a prayer for you. But then I'm also going to say you should be saying them out loud, because you can recite something in your head all day long and it sounds great, because let's be honest, a whole lot of stuff sounds great in our head, but until we actually say it out loud is when we start to catch our mistakes. So if you speak it out loud, if you teach somebody else, that is how you are going to learn something. So teach an emergency procedure or teach the PAs or do something like that, and it's going to help it stick in your brain a little bit more.